Okay, so here we are. It's one of those big days on the 308 project today. It's time to put the engine in. It's time to put something in this hole that's been here for far too long. So what we've done, everything within the engine bay is done now. So we've got the tanks in, the fuel system in, fuel pump and all that's in, all the ignition systems all in, all the piping and plumbing, all the things that you really don't want to do once the engine's in there. All the brake pipes down the bottom. I've run all the wires through. They haven't been cut to length yet, but they're all in there. So it's time to put the engine in. These are fairly tight to get in the hole. The size of the engine is about the same size as the hole it's going to go into, so you have to come up with some angles. Now there's a couple of ways of doing this. Some people do them with the bell housing on. I tend to take the bell housing off because it's just another, it gets you another sort of 8 inches of space. And you also see that we put it in at a sort of 30-degree angle. You can't go sort of down square. You have to go in at a funny angle. When it goes in, you'll see it's very tight. Just as this side's coming down the back of the boot, the front engine mountings are trying to go through the rear screen. So it's we're talking sort of 10 mil or so when these things go in. There's not a lot of space. So we have lots of bodies on these and lots of wing covers. Go on. Yeah, extra stands are out the way, you can't move the jack motor. Go on. Right, so we start to get new paintwork going in. Go down. Yeah, go down a little bit, you gotta go gently. Whoa, blimey. Joys of putting heavy machinery in past new paintwork. Right, all right, this side, go on. You're right on the left to right. You can see here we even have to take the studs out of the cam covers because that extra 10 mil of stud makes a difference. Yeah, we're clear. No, we're all right, go on, keep going. Throttle cable up. Gonna start. So you're gonna hit that manifold in a minute. Well done, buddy, that's it.
There you go.
Yeah, right. No, diff's good, yeah, we're gonna start coming onto the chassis in a minute. We're gonna have to. Do we need to go back a bit with the engine? Right, so up with the jack then, and then kick the jack backwards.
Yeah.
Right. That's it. Yeah. Lovely, and that's all there is to it. Okay, as you can see, it's now all in and we're all bolted up. So everything's connected, all the fuel lines, everything's in. The engine was completely dry, so I've literally just put the gearbox oil in, because that goes in underneath, but it's got no fuel or anything else in it yet. So just going through the process of how we go to start these things. So I'm going to finish off putting some coolant in it and bleed the coolant at the front. Oil wise, so it's got gearbox oil in now because we pumped that in. Engine oil, we put it in the sump, but also take the oil filter off and I backfill the gallery. So I'll pour some down the back of the oil filter so it backfills the gallery. So when we're churning, it's already got some in there, even though the engine's been built with assembly lube and what have you. We need to put some fuel in it because that's bone dry at the moment. So then we can run the pumps because they haven't run yet, so we can run the fuel pumps. We need to get it up into the carbs. We need to make sure that they're not sticking or leaking, make sure the accelerator pumps work and fill up the whole galleries. And once we've done all that, hopefully we should push the button and it should start. What we use to run these things, first of all, there's two trains of thoughts on this. This is a running in oil. Because everything's brand new on the engine, you almost need to wear it in a little bit. Now, some people love this, some people hate it. I've always used it and it's worked. So it's basically a much, much lower grade oil. The oils now are so good that if you put the top racing oil in, which it will run in, it's so slippery that nothing beds in. We need the rings to bite into the bores. We need the rings to work. But we don't leave it in there very long. We literally use it for running the car. We'll do some limited road testing with it. Then after a while, we drain it all out and put the proper oil in. Just gives the chance of things to bite in. The only other way of doing it is if you run the engines hard on a dyno, then you can put the proper oil in, because the running in oil won't put up with a lot of high revs, high temperature, high stress. It just breaks down and the oil pressure bleeds off. But it is good for just getting that initial bite into things. Just checking it on the dipsticks. I've gone slightly over just because I know I've got to fill up all the galleries. There's an oil cooler to fill up, oil filters to fill up. There's probably, a good litre or so of oil that's got to fill up pipes and galleries, so then it'll come back down, so we start slightly over. Always rather have too much oil in an engine than not enough. So as I've mentioned, we just take the filter off because this is all, you can see, bone dry. And just to help things along a bit, just pour a little bit of oil down the middle of the oil filter, just to backfeed the galleries to get some lube in there when it starts to turn over. There we go. Let's just fill that up. I'll just put the oil filter back on. Right, so if we flick the ignition on, we should have some pumps running. We should start to pump some fuel around. And basically, we're just checking for leaks because obviously it's the first time the fuel filter and the fuel pumps have ever had anything in for a few years. And then just checking around the carbs, make sure there's no flooding in carbs. Sometimes the needles get stuck, floats get stuck and they flood. It's all looking good, there's no puddles. And just work the accelerator pump jets, make sure they're all primed. Right, I guess it's that time to turn the thing over. And so I don't want it to start yet because I want to try and get some oil around it all before it fires up. Right, if we crank it over. Off. Well, that wasn't a bad start from nothing, crikey. We just need some more pressure. Let's go again. Yeah, so we've got oil pressure now. You can hear it gurgling around. Still good pressure. No leaks underneath. Well, that's not bad. Running and idling like that after 4 years. Sounds like we could do a bit more timing. Just adjust the timing a little bit. The light's gone out, we're charging, we've got good oil pressure, no leaks. What I'm doing there is just warm the heads up a little bit just to get some heat into the head gaskets. Coming up. The heads are hot. Yeah, the heads are getting hot now. And that's how we do it.